What's going on, family? I'm Scrapbook Boxing. The Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series will continue its conversation with you concerning the complete history of boxing. We left off in our last conversation discussing the career of Archie Moore. Archie Moore, in my opinion, should be noted as a black murderers fighter. Many believe he should not be. In my opinion, Archie Moore is the quintessential black murderers fighter. Didn't become champion until 1952 because he was not given that opportunity to become champion until 1952. He started out his career with Henry Armstrong. They would travel the same circuits in San Diego, California. And it took Archie Moore over 10 years to get that title shot. And he would hold that crown for 10 years. Wasn't until 1961 and 1962 that Archie Moore would be stripped of his titles. New York sacked in the NBA. And he would take on Harold Johnson 5 times between 1949 and 1954. And he would defeat Harold Johnson 4 times out of the 5. Harold Johnson could not take the title away from Archie Moore. He was too crafty, too much of a veteran. And don't let no one kid you. Harold Johnson was an outstanding boxer, very strong fighter, very high IQ, phenomenal Philadelphia fighter. Had the pleasure of meeting him several times. But the only way he would become the light heavyweight champion is that Archie Moore had his title stripped from him. As I said, in 1961 and 1962. So Harold Johnson would then take on Jesse Bowdry, and he would defeat him, and he would then become Philadelphia's light heavyweight champion. That was a moment for Philadelphia. The last Philadelphia light heavyweight champion we had was Tommy Loughran, Philly Phantom. And Tommy Loughran was a phenomenal fighter, such a great fighter. Then in 1928, when Gene Tunney would retire from boxing after his last fight with Tom Heaney, The Rock, from Down Under, his title would go vacant, and it would become the America's Heavyweight Championship belt. And Tommy Loughran and the Boston Gob, Jack Sharkey, would fight one another as a tournament was created for that title. My God, we're going back 1928. Tommy Loughran's only title defense was against Primo Carnera. And Carnera would not allow Tommy Loughran, because of the size difference, was probably the largest size difference in heavyweight history. So Harold Johnson would set a trend for great Philadelphia light heavyweight champions. Matthew Saad Muhammad was probably the best during that time as a light heavyweight champion. But Archie Moore would take on Harold Johnson once again April 26, 1949 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He would defeat him in 10 rounds. September 24th, 1951. He would defeat Harold Johnson once again in Philadelphia. December 10th, 1951. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Moore would lose to Harold Johnson in 10 rounds. January 29th, 1952. Toledo, Ohio. Moore would defeat Harold Johnson in 10 rounds. And this was going back and forth between these two men. August 11th from 1954. New York. Archie Moore, 1947. Knocks out Harold Johnson in 14 rounds in New York's Madison Square Garden. My God. That was probably the most beautiful setup, well-timed punch combination that was thrown. And it showed the audiences that appreciate boxing, that understand the game, what Archie Moore was truly made of. Now, yes, you can talk about 1958, when Archie Moore would face Yvonne Durrell. First round, he got up several times, shook it off. It was a back and forth frenzy. And Yvonne Durrell would eventually go in 11 rounds. This contest took place in Montreal, Canada. But Archie Moore showed me, through fight film of course, the skill set that he truly had. Now I watched him fight Jimmy Bivens. I watched him fight Izzard Charles. But Archie Moore, my God, could do it all. He could do it all. My dad used to watch him hit the heavy bag. And he would do the cross-arm defense on the heavy bag as he would jug the bag with his shoulder and combinate it with the elbow, move his head around the bag from time to time. But all in sequence. When I personally spoke with Archie Moore, one of the things he told me, one of the ways to look at a fighter, and this complemented the advice that I got from my dad. Balance is everything. It shouldn't take you any more than 30 seconds to study a fighter, to pretty much know what that fighter can deliver, what you can get away with that fighter, from that fighter. You watch his balance. Jack Blackburn, wonderful trainer of the great Brown Bomber Joe Louis, said that balance is a mark of a true fighter. He would tie the string laces around the ankles of Joe Louis, place the medicine ball between his knees, and made him hit the heavy bag in that position. Your feet should not be any wider than your shoulder length. If you're a boxer, if you're a man who comes forward, throws punches with both hands, your feet should be as wide as your elbows extended. Balance. Very important. Between November 27th, 1942 and March 18th of 1942, Moore faced Jack Chase, Little Joe Louis, one time in California. And what was interesting about Jack Chase, he would be a California middleweight and light heavyweight champion. Archie Moore would face Jack Chase 6 times. Jack Chase was one of 8 members of the Black Murderers Row. November 27th, 1942, San Diego. He would win in 10 rounds. May 8th, 1943, San Diego, California. Archie Moore would win in 15 rounds. August 2nd, 1943, San Francisco, California. He would lose in 15 rounds. November 26th, 1943, Hollywood, California. He would win in 10 rounds. November 6th, 1946, Oakland, California. 10 rounds. It would be a draw. March 18th, 1947, Los Angeles, California. He would score a 9th round knockout. Jack Chase and Archie Moore. 1942, 1947. Archie Moore would take on Ezzard Charles 3 times between 1946 and 1948. May 20th of 1946, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Charles won 10 rounds over Archie Moore. May 5th, 1947, Cincinnati, Ohio. Ezzard Charles would win 10 rounds over Archie Moore. January 13th of 1948, Cleveland, Ohio. Ezzard Charles TKO'd Archie Moore in 8 rounds. Ezzard Charles, the Cincinnati Cobra, would have a record of 42-0 as an amateur, with every conceivable middleweight title in those amateur games. He sparred many rounds with the great Sugar Ray Robinson. He sparred rounds with Charlie Burley and Harry Bobo, Eddie Futch. Very good fighter was the Cincinnati Cobra, Ezzard Mac Charles. Archie Moore would be in the ring with Jimmy Bivens 5 times between August 1945 and February 1951. August 22nd, 1945, Cleveland, Ohio. Jimmy Bivens would stop Archie Moore in 6 rounds. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. September 8th, 1947, Baltimore, Maryland. Jimmy Bivens would stop Archie Moore in 9 rounds. Absolutely, he did. June 29th, 1948, Baltimore, Maryland. Jimmy Bivens would lose 10 rounds to Archie Moore. April 11th, 1949, Toledo, Ohio. Archie Moore knocks out Jimmy Bivens in 8 rounds. February 21st, 1951, New York. Archie Moore will return the favor and knock out Jimmy Bivens in the 9th round. Archie Moore would take on Eddie Booker 3 times between February 21st, 1941 and January 21st, 1944. February 21st of 41, San Diego, California. Archie Moore would have a draw in 10 rounds with Eddie Booker. December 11th, 1942, San Diego, California. Archie Moore, once again, 12 rounds, with Eddie Booker. In January 21st, 1944, Hollywood, California. Archie Moore would lose 8 rounds. The Black Dynamite, Eddie Booker. Eddie Booker could punch. He would crack the ribs of Archie Moore. He knew how to punch. He knew how to fight. He understood the game. Both Archie Moore and Eddie Booker, both Archie Moore and Ezzard Charles, both Archie Moore and Jack Chase. You had Ray Robinson during those days. You had Jimmy Bivens during those days. You had Turkey Thompson and you have Bo Jack and Ike Williams, Willie Joyce. Boxing was something else in those days, I'm telling you. You don't understand. In every weight division, you had men who were capable of carrying the throne to its highest potential. But men like Archie Moore and Ezzard Charles in their early days was looked over, was avoided, was ducked, if you will. No one wanted any part of these men. And when you discuss the black murders, though, discuss them in the fashion that these men wanted to fight for a title. They wanted the glamour. They wanted legacy. and they were denied. The same rights that the white fighters had, they won it, and they deserved it. And they were overlooked, they were avoided, they were pushed to the back burner. Many of them were offered money to take dives. Many of them would be met with someone with a gun to their head in the locker room. You don't have to win. Do not knock my fighter out, or you will suffer the consequences. That happened many times to the members of Black Murderers Row. And that's why you see losses. And when you do the math with the losses, it doesn't add up. Charlie Burley would draw with Georgie Abrams. You ask, how did that happen? Coco Kid would defeat Holman Williams 9 times out of 14 contests between the two of them. He was fined for possibly taking a dive. Holman Williams, if you understood how he fought, how he boxed, how intelligent he was in the ring, it'll make you question yourself. What really went on during that time? Oakland Billy Smith, Charlie Green, George Nichols, you have Bob Baker. Share a quick story with you. When you look at Bob Baker and Nino Valdez, up and coming Floyd Patterson, Big Train, Amos Lincoln, a young Charles Sonny Liston, in the 40s, you had the Bo Jack and Ike Williams and Willie Joyce. You had Bob Montgomery, Charlie Smith, Bobby Green. These men had the potential of really dominating the divisions. Now, of course, Bojack and Bob Montgomery would mix it up several times, and Ike Williams, Bob Montgomery twice, Ike Williams and Bojack 3 times, 1948 and 1955 twice. Both men would retire after their last match with one another in 55. I'm speaking of Ike Williams and Bojack. Bojack would have some controversial victories over Enrique Bolanos, very good Mexican fighter. But the match between Bojack and Ike Williams in 1948, oh my God, are you kidding me? Oh. You had a fighter by the name of Len Mathis. He was in a ring with Carlos Ortiz in Philadelphia. Mathis was undefeated coming in. He was a phenomenal boxer. He would suffer almost 70 punches unanswered from Carlos Ortiz. Punched him all around that ring. You would eventually come across a smoking Joe Frazier. He was an atom bomb. He was a truth machine. He could fight. Bob Satterfield could knock down bricks with a punch. Boxing has a great history. and lots of sad endings. So I've learned to appreciate Archie Moores and Herman Williams, Charlie Burleys, and Coco Kids, Eddie Booker, Lloyd Marshall, Jack Chase, Little Tiger, Aaron Wade, Wallace Cross, you had Lem Franklin, oh, you don't understand. You don't understand. Wow. I just had a moment. I'm Scrapbook Boxing. The Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series will continue its conversation with you concerning the complete history of boxing. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening. Amazing. Give a thumb up for these great fighters before you end this video watch. Because boxing has been good to all of us. From Jim Figs to current times. Thanks for watching. Peace.